Alright, scientists, before we can use the microscope, we've got to introduce or meet the microscope by learning some of the main parts of the microscopes that we're going to use. So write down the name and the definitions for all these parts, and the first part is the eyepiece. And you can see that it just says 10x lens. That X means power or magnification. So this magnifies by a power of 10. The next part is the arm. Pretty simple definition for the arm of support and transport. Obviously it holds up the microscope, and then if we're moving the microscope around, we put one hand on the arm to transport it. The stage is the flat surface that's going to hold our slide. And the slide is that rectangle piece of glass that's holding our specimen. The specimen is just whatever object we're looking at. Now, whenever we magnify something, obviously it's getting larger. And one important thing we got to do is focus the image of that specimen. So the focus knob is going to allow us to move the stage up and down, and that's going to help focus our image of the specimen that we're looking at. Now we'll find out later that we can go from low to medium to high power, and when we're on high power we're so zoomed in that we'll want to use the fine focus knob to move the stage, and that will be for high power only, to move the stage in smaller increments. At the bottom of our scope we've got the base, and again, definition like the arm is support and transport. Obviously it supports the microscope, and when we're carrying a microscope or moving it, we would want to have one hand under the base and then the other hand on the arm. Now if you're old school, you got a mirror and a flashlight as your light source, and if you're way old school, you'd have a mirror and a candle. But luckily we've got electricity, so we'll plug in our scope and we'll use the light to illuminate our specimen. Now the light travels up through the stage, and the diaphragm rotates to allow more or less light through the stage. And the diaphragm is just a circular dial on the bottom of the stage with holes in it that are larger and smaller for changing the amount of light. Some of the scopes will have little metal stage clips, some of them won't. And it's optional for you to use these, and it'll just hold the slide down onto the stage. Now the next three spots are really one part, the objective lenses, and there are three different lenses. The low power magnifies by a power of 4, the medium power by a power of 10, and the high power magnifies 40 times. Now on a compound microscope, we're using the eyepiece lens and the objective lens to view our specimen, and the nose piece will rotate to change between our low, medium, and high objective lenses. Make sure that when you rotate between objective lenses that they click into place. Last but not least is the body tube. This just has mirrors and lenses to connect the eyepiece to the objective lenses. And that's the 12 main parts of the microscope.